Okay, another book is the 10 or 12 page journal. Sometimes people make this book have 52 pages, like if they're treating it as a journal, they sketch in, but we don't have time to do that. We're just making 10 to 12 pages. And you will get your handout. It's a 9 by 12 and a half book. And this is a student book where she has covered it with red book cloth and then glued some Arches black paper and one of her ink drawings on top. It's called A Book of Addiction. She has movable parts. This book is well, she only did a 3-hole pamphlet where normally it's a 7-hole, but I'll show you that later. So she kept it simple with black and white and graphite. So I'm just showing you the variety of her pages. This is a cool thing that she did where she has a little pamphlet inside here that can move, open and close. And then she has this smaller page that opens up. She used a hemp thread. And this is a sweet kind of envelope that you open up, and it has some text and a metallic Duralar. I'm going to show you some other examples. But you can see it's not, it's 10 to 12 pages. Okay, so here's another example that's larger. I've put the size down now. We don't make it as large anymore. I wanted to make it more manageable. But this book has some things that you could think about for your journal. And you have lots of examples online under the assignments of large journal under assignments. This is a real rock, and it's connected with Velcro. That's one way to attach things. Same with this little crayon that reminds me of kindergarten. I just put Velcro on it. You can sometimes have little books in the journal. This is a flag book. It could even be longer and open up more. Mine's not that long. Different collages, different plastic envelopes with real butterfly wings that are Velcroed on. I do have directions for this. I can put online. It's just a fold out that opens up. Some interaction, Here's a glassine envelope I made with a photograph. This is real birch, Velcroed on, ribbon, another little envelope. Here's a paper cutout. This one doesn't really make much sense. It's just my demo. Just throwing a lot in. Here's a Xerox transfer made with wintergreen oil. This is a rubbing off of a grate and a black crayon over it. But just like that other book had a smaller square page, I chose to do a half circle page. Here's another fold out. Just a simple piece of paper folded up. But this has the glue on it. It's folded in four halves, but this one is glued down. And then I close it. Here's another small pamphlet stitch book on Xeroxes of owls. this book could really have more of a theme. It's just kind of a catch-all of examples. Beautiful velvet, old millinery leaf, packet of seeds, an old envelope with this, see the bird and the bird cage. If I spin it, hopefully the bird is in the cage. And I have handouts how to do those. And then sequins, collaged on portraits, a circle made with glue and then glitter sprinkled and pressed down on that. Here's a pocket accordion with veneer and a cutout print I did. And I just ended up putting things in the pockets, but I did grommets and tied the toys so they wouldn't fall. Okay, a little box that's Velcroed to that. Okay, so, and then you have to remember to pick paper for your inside covers. So that's another example. Here's another one. This is the proper size. It's a little smaller. You know, I do my spine with a different piece of paper. This isn't book cloth. This is a sample wallpaper I did, and I collaged some beautiful arches and did an ink drawing on the front and the back. This is a 52 page. That's one of my sketchbooks, and I have a lovely envelope on the inside, and all I did was I took an existing envelope, I unglued it, I traced it, cut it out with this skull paper, creased it, glued it together, and double tacked it. And then, so that gave me a place that, Nick Cave is in there, that I could put Nick Cave, Nighty Night. So this is collage, some more glitter. This one doesn't have the pockets that I see in some of the other ones because it's just my doodles. Like that's a list of what to do, and then I ended up doodling. I gotta glue this in somewhere. But it just kind of grows. Here's an envelope. I don't really have anything good in there. I don't know why I can't get that in. Now, if you really had your heart set on it, you probably could make a 52-page one and just do the first 10 or 12 pages. That's an example of a fold-out. Here's another example of a fold-out. You could use some of the tiny books we learned and glue them inside and do something with them. And I have pages left over for more doodling. But you can see how the inside spine is a different paper, and then the inside front and back covers are a different paper. Now this envelope doesn't have to be at the front, it could be in the back. This envelope could be in here, you know. And then I do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I use a drill and put this long hemp thread through so I can wrap it. Okay, so let me stop for a second and get the book pieces together to show you. As we build our journal, I just wanted to show you all of my pieces. This is my book board, or in this instance, I'm using 2-ply museum board, mat board. This is my inside cover front and back. I have the measurements on these because this is my demo. This is my front cover of my journal, my back cover. This is the outside spine. This is the inside spine. And between those, I have another little hard spine of bookboard. I have my 7-hole pamphlet stitch hot dog, which is the height of the book and the pages. I have my 10 to 12 pages over here in my cradle. And this is the illustration you'll be aiming for, and you'll get this handout of how to build your book and how to cut the corners. You know how to cut your corners. How to put your ribbon in. And this is another close-up illustration of how to assemble the book and the tools needed and the inside envelope. So I'm just gonna quickly put it together, but not for real. I'm just gonna pretend. So I lay down my outside 2.5 by 17-inch high spine. Then I place my front and back covers, and I'm going to put it in, and I'm looking at my self-healing board to get the measurements right, lining it up. So I'm putting it 1 inch in. I'm going to go ahead and put my spine in and leave like 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm also putting, I think I'm going to back this out to make it a little 3/4 in. I'm going to put it at 3/4. Move my spine over. Put this in at 3/4. And I'm trying to find the center. Then I pick up my, I'd be gluing this down with my double tack or PVA like I've taught you. I would be measuring 2 bookboard widths out and make my diagonal cuts all around. Then, of course, I would be folding all this over and tucking it in. See? Tucking it in. And then I would be covering it's hard to do it because I don't really want to glue. But let's say this is perfect. Whoop. And I would be putting my inside covers on. Then I would take my inside spine and cover all that. That's going to work out perfectly. If I was gluing it. Look at all these blues. It's quite striking. Now I've made my hot dog. And here are my, this is going to go 10 to 12 pages. I'm going to have to poke through. I'm going to glue this down to my spine. And then, but if this was all glued, then I could lift it up and put it in, let's just pretend it's all glued. So hard to do it. It's going to fall apart. But okay, let's say it's all glued and I'm putting it in here with everything. My spine's in there and all. And I'm finding the center of my pages. I'm putting that in. I'm lining it up with my hot dog. And then I'm going to pierce all 7 holes through the whole thing. Let's say that worked beautifully. And then I have to sew through the book. But I'm not going to do this because this is my demo. I'm just going to sew through this hot dog to do the 7-hole pamphlet stitch. And you have this under assignments. It's all by itself, saying 7-hole pamphlet stitch. Here it is. Now how I got this is the height of my book. This is the top, actually. I put a T, I put hot dog. I fold a 2-inch wide piece of paper in half, and I forget the length of this, maybe 15, no, what is it? It's 12 inches. I fold it in half. You've done this before. Then I take the bottom and fold it to the middle. I take the top and fold it to the middle. Then I take the end and fold it once more, and then the inside once more. This one once more to the center. And then wherever it crosses, I put my dot, and that's where I got to put my hot dog. Now I'm just going to take my needle, since this is just an example, and poke a hole all the way through. This is sometimes a nice way to practice before you do it on the book, just to practice on your hot dog, sewing your stitching. It doesn't matter if you come in from the back or the front. Now some of those books I showed you only had like a 3-hole stitch with a big heavy, like a hemp thread through to wrap it around, like this one. But besides that, it also was sewn with a 7-hole pamphlet stitch on the center. I can't find the center, just trust me, it's there. See, underneath this, there's a 7-hole pamphlet stitch. And then I took the rough thread and only chose a 3-hole so I could have a long wrap around the book. You don't have to do that. This red book didn't do anything like that. They just purely did the sewing regular. Okay, so I'm going to go through the center from the back. It doesn't matter, front or back. And I'm going to look at my illustration here while I do it. I go through, that's my hole 1, leave a tail to tie off. Then I'm going to go up to the next hole. Then through the back, through the top, down to the next one, down to the next one. Then, this is where I do something a little different. I make a leap. I jump across to the hole that's right below the center hole and come out. And I go down to the next one, the next one, back up, to the back. And now I'm going to go through the center hole again, and I always want to come out on the other side of the thread. So I can do my square knot, left over right. Whoops, too tight. And then right over left. And that is a square knot. Okay, and that's what you would do through the whole book. Okay, so there you have it.